Get ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I'm your host, I'm Fergus. I've just had dinner and I've just seen a sight that nearly made my dinner return up. We'll talk about it in a second. You are watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons. We're going to look back at the Lisbon game and we're also going to look back at that fantastic result at Craven Cottage on Sunday. Joined as usual by old man Hilsey. Thankfully, he's got his top buttoned up. And Capodan and Danish Gooner Alex. Guys, welcome to the show. Dan, that was a sight for sore eyes, wasn't it?
Honestly, just before we come on, Trev said, "Don't make me stand up. I've got no bottoms on." And then the next thing he does is he goes like that and he opens up his top. Honestly, for a second there, behind closed doors, fully nude, Trev.
And for a young man, Alex, you're on mute, but that must be, you've probably never seen something as wrinkled as that before, have you?
Scary side. I've never seen so much chest hair before.
Trev, you got us talking already. Alan's in the chat. How you doing, Trev? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I've just walked in from work. I've been at work, so I've done no prep for this tonight. But then I normally leave that to you boys anyway because you're so good at it. Looking forward to it. It's been a great week, hasn't it, for the Arsenal? We've had a great away trip to Europe and we've gone to Fulham and absolutely demolished them. I don't care what anyone says about the second half. We just played the game second half, but it was men v boys. We were so good. And I called the score right. There you go.
You did, and I think Alex has got two right in a row, but we'll talk about that. Before we go into it, I want to wish you, from the Gooner podcast, our good friend Magic Mike Fernberg, a happy 50th birthday. All the best to you, Mike. I'd also like to reach out to another fellow podcaster of ours, Danny from a Burkamp Wonderland. He's not doing podcasts at the moment. He's got some stuff going on at home, but we just want to say from Guns and Yellow Ribbons, we're thinking of you, mate, and we got you back. Trev, I know you had some other news as well that you want to wish.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mike. I hope you've had a great day. Danny, I hope you're all right, mate. And then we just got to pass on our condolences to Terry and Becky, who's a good mate of ours and a good mate of the show. They've had a bit of heartbreak this week, but hopefully they'll be all right. But our thoughts are with all of them.
Yeah, indeed. Guys, we'll go on to the Lisbon game. We won't spend a huge amount of time on that because it was, at least 50 pints ago for you, Dan and Trev, and your livers are probably just recovering. I know to see Dan on Sunday, even he did get his fighting boots back on again, but at the start, he really did struggle to try and get that first couple of pints down. It was quite funny to see him in the 8 bells. But the lineups, we had 6 changes in the lineup. Alex, we had a start for Nelson, a start for Kivior, Martinelli as a centre forward, and Granit Xhaka as captain. What did you make of 6 changes, though, Alex? Did that concern you?
I wouldn't say it concerned me. It was a lot of changes, but I still thought it was a strong lineup, and I was quite excited to see Kivior play his first game. But I think it's clear when you change so many players, it takes some time. For the players to adapt and to find the relations between the players. And I think you could see that as well. They struggled a bit in the beginning of the match, just finding the relations with each other. So, but yeah, I was confident when I saw the lineup. I thought it was expected to see some changes because we play the same players pretty much every week in, week out. So some of our players definitely needed some rest, and then we had, of course, some injuries, and some of the guys were out with illness as well. Tierney and Odegaard, and Trossard was out as well.
Guys, Trev, Dan, we done a podcast which was a challenge and a half on Thursday night with you guys. It seemed like
you were difficult.
Like the atmosphere among the. Sorry,
you were very difficult. Honestly, me and Trev, hard work for us putting up with you.
Yeah, right, okay. The mute button has never been used so much in this life before. But it seemed like it was just an all-round good atmosphere out there, Trev. Edu mixing with the fans, a good away contingency, although some didn't get out there. And then you got our Lyle, and you just see there about halfway up, you can see flag on his shoulders. You can see Cap or Dan in the crowds. Trev, talk to us about the atmosphere in the stadium as well, and then we'll go into the game a little bit more. I know I thought we jumped ahead a little bit with the lineups with Alex, but from what I saw on telly, it was very, very empty from the Sporting side, and it wasn't a great atmosphere.
It was very strange, Fergus. The last time we went to play at Sporting, it was a full stadium, and they were very noisy, very noisy. Didn't give us a chance to be heard, really, in fairness. But this time it appears that some of their loyal fans, they call it the ultras and whoever else, have had a falling out with the owner, and they're not going to the games. And there was only, I think, 36,000 in the stadium, which holds over 50,000. So it was quite empty. There was a few empty seats in the Arsenal end, like you've just said, Fergus, because quite a few people didn't get there. And I still think there was quite a few people bought tickets for the points and didn't go. But at the end of the day, I thought that the Arsenal fans made a lot of noise. They made themselves heard most of the night. It was a jovial atmosphere amongst the Arsenal fans. I didn't hear one Arsenal fan say he had a problem with the selection of the Arsenal team. I thought, and I agree with that. I think it was all right. I think we've got 11 cup finals to go. So we've got to think about both tournaments. And I was absolutely happy with the selection. And at the end of the day, I was all right with the result. I was all right with the result. I think we bring them back to the Emirates now and we play our game. So, yeah, I wasn't unhappy at all, mate.
Dan, your thoughts are like with the atmosphere and everything else. Yourself and Lyle and those appeared on telly. Not the only one to appear on telly, as we know, but it was good to get the face on telly again. And what was the atmosphere like? You were down quite at the front, weren't you?
Yeah. It was. To be fair, the atmosphere throughout the whole trip while we was there was very good. And when we joined up the rest of them in the square beforehand, and good atmosphere as you'd expect on the sort of European aways. And then I got in the stadium. I must admit, I thought it felt a bit flat compared to normal. Certainly wasn't quiet by any means, and the fans were still singing and enjoying the day out. But certainly one of the best things at times of a European away is some of their fans are very good. That's a car outside. Sorry about that.
Welcome to Essex.
Yep.
Welcome to Basel. No, you're not Basel. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Might have sounded like.
There's a 12-year-old probably somewhere driving around in a car that he's just nicked off his dad, but never mind. It was good atmosphere in and around the place, to be honest. But yeah, one of the best things of a European away that I think we missed is you get the fans of the opposition team that are just a different caliber of fan than that you often get in the UK.
And then, of course, we had old Trevor out there giving it all that. I thought he was trying to do the Arteta, but he's not. What's this one then, Trev? If it's not the Arteta, what is it? Yeah, I'll take yourself off mute.
I have to do it once a week to annoy you.
Okay.
That was post the VAR review for our goal. And the Lisbon fans had been giving us a bit. So we were looking at the Lisbon fans giving the old fancy dancing backlight. I shouldn't be doing it at 60 years old, but it was bloody good fun.
Right, listen, we talked about the squad. The squad was Turner in goal, who will be a talking point. White, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Xhaka, Vieira, Saka, Nelson, Martinelli. From the midfield up, I didn't really have an issue with it. Even White and Saliba. I was interested, as you said, Alex, in seeing how Kivior would perform. As you know, I have maintained the whole way along. I'm not a huge fan of Turner, and we'll look at some of the stuff around Turner. The first goal came from Saliba from a set piece. I'm going to turn the sound down because they're only short clips. Dan, do you want to talk me through this first clip? Then it's only a couple of seconds. You can talk me through what you thought of the goal.
I think the first thing is it's quite nice to see us scoring goals from set pieces because we've now got some decent headers of the ball in the team, and Gabriel's very capable of scoring goals. Saliba's very capable of scoring goals. I still also think Ben White can be. I don't think he's only had one goal for us, but he could be a source of goals. I think he's not too bad in the air, and same as Tommy. So we've finally got some players that can actually go and compete against some taller sides. We just need to clean up a little bit at the back, I think, don't we? But yeah, it's good to see Saliba getting a goal. When was the last time he got a goal, Saliba? Was it the Bournemouth game?
I think it's probably his second or third goal for the
Or
club. I don't think he's
Brentford.
got many.
He's got
He's
three.
got-
He's got
Yeah,
three.
so we had Bournemouth and then Sporting. I can't remember the other one. Yeah, was it Brentford?
Yeah, he scored against Brentford, a header as well.
Haven't him and Gabriel both got three, or am I missing a trick there somewhere? I don't know.
There was a stat somebody sent to me. Something to do with Gabriel. I can't remember.
Was it like 10 goals in 3 seasons or something for Gabriel?
Yeah, 10 goals in 3 seasons. Gabriel's got 10 goals in 3 seasons. I think isn't he one of the first defenders?
Yeah, the
to
only
get
defender
that?
in the Premier League.
Yeah. So
Well,
again,
we
as you
had
say,
this discussion before, didn't we? I think it was it with you, Trev? I think out in Sporting where we said about defenders scoring goals, and we've not always been blessed with it. We had like the likes of Vermaelen could get some goals. Koscielny popped up with a couple every now and again, but there wasn't that many from the likes of Mertesacker or the other Gabriel at centre half before.
well, I recall a conversation with Trev, and I know we're probably gone off script, but this is what it is the chat. I recall a conversation with Trev when I think it might have been Gabriel that scored a goal, and he got up in a big tall man and he said, Stevie Bold and Tony Adams, Trev. Do you remember you had that conversation? They used to get goals like that all the time and get us out of trouble.
I think that with the set piece coach now, and with Gabriel and Saliba building a partnership now over three quarters of the season almost, that they are going to get some goals. And you can relate it in a certain way to Bold and Adams, because Bold and Adams used to pop up and score the odd goal, more than the odd goal between them, and it was a very important part of a winning side. And Gabriel and Saliba, I'm sure, are becoming that, So I'm over the moon with everything about our side at the moment. I just can't find anything to not like about Arsenal Football Club at the moment. It's great, isn't it?
Alex, we're going to go on to goal number 2, so we're 33 minutes into the half. This is a set piece that we conceded from. And listen, I'm going to press play. You just let me turn off the audio and talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a very similar goal to the one we just scored against them. But yeah, I think you can point your fingers at a couple of things. Both maybe Turner should have got out for the ball, and you see Kivior, like he's stuck in the ball as well. You'd want him to get up for that and head that away. But yeah, I mean, we conceded from set piece against Bournemouth and then again against Sporting. So bit unusual. We haven't last season we didn't really concede any goals from a set piece, so it's a bit unusual that we've been conceding the last couple of games. So as Stan said, we need to tighten up at the back when we've got set pieces.
Can you compare like for like when you're looking at comparing two different keepers and two different styles, and obviously the quality difference between Ramsdale and Turner? Forget about like me thinking who's the better. But clearly, Ramsdale's looking for Golden Glove and so on, and Turner's not playing as much. So, can you compare that?
I think it's just to do with confidence as well. He's so much more commanding in the box, Ramsdale, and like Turner, he plays once every 1 month, and yeah, it's a difficult job being the second keeper because you don't get too many chances, and when you've got a chance. You just have to make no mistakes, and it's quite easy to make mistakes as a goalkeeper. So it's a difficult job, but yeah, I think he should have been more commanding in the box for that set piece.
Trevor, I'm going to come to you on the third goal of the game. It's just after halftime. We came close just before halftime. We had one that goal line technology ruled out. The ball went probably halfway over the line, but it was a good save by the Sporting keeper just to keep it in. This one here is Turner again, but on this occasion, I don't think, and you're on mute still, Trev, but I don't think you can really say that Turner done a huge amount wrong in the sense that I don't think he could have done anything else with an instinctive save. But Trev, talk to me through about this one.
Look, right. I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this, right? Because Turner's a young kid learning the game. His appearances are still in single figures, yeah. And you can blame him for the first goal. I sort of blame him for the first goal. No problem with us blaming him for the goal and saying that he could have done better. Although I think the defenders could have also done better because it was a free header. But what I won't have, and what I would always stand up against, is taking it too far. You know, there was like videos and memes and Mickey takes taking it out of Turner. And if you're an Arsenal fan and you do that, do you think that helps him? Do you think it helps him? Because these players see social media. They're on social media. So Turner's made an error. The second one wasn't an error. He's got down and he palmed it out. But Turner's made an error. He's fully expecting us to go on social media the following day and say, yeah, Turner made an error there. He's a bit crap, needs to pull his socks up, you know, needs to start learning. Brilliant. But don't take it too far. Don't go putting videos on with him looking the clown and all that, because that ain't going to help him. And as an Arsenal fan, I want to help the team. You know what I mean? That's my point of view anyway.
No, I get that. Dan, do you have anything to add on what you thought of Turner's, in particular, first-half performance? Because in the second half, he did improve. He did make some good saves. What was your thoughts of his performance overall? And the defence as well, because Kivior, for the first goal, you know, he did duck out of it. And why did he duck out? Did he get a call? Clearly, he didn't get a call. So...
Yeah, this was going to be my point. I actually don't think Turner had a bad game. And I don't really see that he made a mistake, if I'm totally honest. I, like yourself at the start, criticised him, didn't think he was good enough. But you know what? Since pre-season, I think most games that he's played very, very well, and he's made some good saves. He's kept clean sheets when he's come in at times. He's that first goal from the set piece, I don't think that's his error. I think if you're playing Gabriel and Partey in that team, I don't think we can see that goal. I think it's more down to Kivior and Jorginho being in those roles that Partey and Gabriel normally are. So I don't really see that as an error. I think he's unlucky where he pushes the ball out for the second one. That does happen at times with keepers. You know, we saw it with Leno, in the Fulham game, and you see it at times where keepers push the ball out, and it does sometimes drop to people's feet. So I think it's a bit unfair to criticise him, especially when he's not played behind our back sort of four, and then midfield that is our sort of.
So is that an error by Arteta then, to a certain degree, to blood Kivior and having Turner on, with Turner having lack of experience with first team? Would it have been better to bring Kivior into a game where Ramsdale was in the back, Dan?
I mean, in isolation, it's better to bring one player into the normal 11 because they'll fit into the whole team. But how many games would you then have to play to rotate the squad? So it's never going to happen that way. I think when you've got the squad, you have to rotate them. The Europa League is going to be where we rotate them because our priority is clearly the Premier League. I was surprised that Kivior played. I thought Holding would play, but no sort of issues with the team being rotated.
That could have been down to a bit of sickness and stuff like that. Just picking up on one of the comments in there, Ben put in the chat, which was this one here that you just put up a second ago, Trev, which is Ramsdale made a mistake on Sunday, which we'll talk about. The clearance of the fan sang his name and social media. That's social media for you. We're not digging out Turner in any way. I'm not. You know, no, clearly. But I've sit here and just questioned certain parts of the game and asked your opinions on it. Personally, I still think that he was poorly positioned for the first goal. I said about Kivior not coming forward. Second goal, as we said, he cleared it. I don't like keepers. Didn't like Leno parrying onto the penalty spot. But I don't think he could have done anything else because the way the ball came at him, he just instinctively put his hands out and saved that ball. And he was unlucky that it went straight to Paulinho, who, you know, in between two of our defenders, and Paulinho was there straight in the back of the net. The third goal, Dan, do you want to talk about the third goal, which was, well, actually, first of all, before we do that, Martinelli had a great run. And I think that deserves a mention, Dan. I'll talk to you about this one, and then I'll play, while you're talking about that, go into the 2-2, the equaliser from Xhaka.
Yeah, it was a great run, to be honest with you. I fully expected him in the stadium to bury it. You know, I think he just takes one too many touches to go around the keeper. Probably doesn't see how quick the player is closing him down. But I don't want to compare him too many times to other people, but that was a Messi-esque type run. And it's not the first time he's done it. Obviously, at Stamford Bridge as well, where he scored the goal. And the lad's got a good dribble in him. And that's
Villa Park.
Sorry?
At Villa Park as well.
Well, yeah. Bit easier when there's no keeper there, but yeah, I'll give him that one. But yeah, the lad's got ability, and when he runs centrally, he's a different player to when he runs down the wing, and he's very, very capable of being a wide man that stays out on the touchline. And obviously, he plays that role when Zinchenko's in midfield when he drops into midfield. But what we've seen a lot lately is when the likes of Trossard comes in, or another similar type player, even with Jesus, he does move more centrally, and his runs are directed more towards goal as opposed to out wide. And he scores more goals, and he's got a lot of goals in him that he can bring to the team. He could easily be a 15, 20 goal man a season. Same as Saka on the other side.
And the goal that came from from this really fortunate deflection, because I think the ball that Xhaka was putting across would have taken about 3 men out between him and the corner flag. What do you reckon, Dan?
Yeah, was that officially given as an own goal?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
I thought it must have done. Well, as they say, if you don't shoot, you don't score. So sometimes you do have to take a bit of a speculative effort, and Xhaka's definitely got a good shot in him. Credit to Xhaka, to be honest. I didn't even realise, and this shows how far he's come, I didn't realise he was captain for that game. And I think, a couple of years ago, if he'd been put captain, everyone would have been up in arms. And I don't think people barely realised he was captain.
I did take note of that at the start, and I put it on the notes, Granit Xhaka captain. But also, I think that's his second or third time since the thing with Palace many moons ago, which we all agree he's made up from. I think that's the second or third time, and he's deputy captain behind Odegaard. Trev, looking at the stats of this game, we did control the game. We had more shots overall on and off target, on target. We equaled them possession wise. The stats say that we controlled the game. It was a good draw, a good European tie for a neutral to watch. For me to watch, I found it awfully painful because I was watching all you guys and thinking I could have been there, should have been there, and so on. But we control the game and we take it back to the Emirates.
It felt like we controlled the game for large periods, Fergus, to be honest. When I was there, it did feel that way, and that's what gives me a little bit more confidence for coming back to the Emirates. I think that with changes, we've got it within us to progress to the next round comfortably. Just in that point that Dan made about the Martinelli run is interesting, because that defender who put the tackle in at the end, he came from absolutely nowhere. The pace he showed was unbelievable. He came from 50 yards back and then just appeared and made the tackle. So all credit where it's due. But it was a great feeling when he was running with that ball, wasn't it? Go on, Gabby. Oh, God, he's so close, But yeah, sorry, Fergus, I drift, mate, as I always do drift. But yeah, I felt that we controlled a lot of the game, apart from one or two little periods. I thought maybe that the Portuguese, the Sporting Lisbon players, maybe felt the fans missing. I don't know, because they were nowhere near as loud as they could be. But it does make me feel pretty confident that we should bring them back to the Emirates and progress.
Yeah, I think a home advantage, the home support that's been in the Emirates over the last 18 months or so has been outstanding. And I think that should be enough, as you say, to get us across the line. I'll go around now, since we're talking about Thursday and this game. What are you hoping for Thursday then, Trev? If you were to pick a scoreline now, and how much would you change the lineup between now and Thursday? Or between last Thursday and this Thursday?
Well, I think we've got to remember we've got Palace on Sunday, and as we progress through the league season, Fergie, it becomes more and more important to keep winning games in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine I wouldn't be upset if we saw a team similar to what we saw in the first leg, Fergus. And we win it by. I don't think we'll win it by a mile. I think probably the odd goal or 1-0 would do, But it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see the same or very similar team start that played in the first leg, mate.
Okay, Alex, would you like to see Jesus start and maybe get a stronger start to this game, get a couple of goals in the bag, and then make some changes?
Yeah, I think I'd want to see him like for the last 20 odd minutes, and then I'd like to see Saka get a rest as well, because he's playing every game and he's just starting to look tired. He looked very tired against Sporting, I thought, and he was kind of limping as well at the end. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to rest him, and hopefully Smith Rowe is ready to play from in the starting lineup soon. I'd love to see him play soon, starting. And yeah, then Nielsen and of course Jorginho has to play. But yeah, I think we'll be able to beat them with a similar team to what we played in Sporting in Lisbon.
And what score are you going for?
I'll go for a 2-0.
Okay, so if you get that as 3 out of 3, so the drinks are on you when you come over here
Yeah,
for the Brighton game.
definitely. I gotta start putting some bets in.
Yeah, Dan. What's your thoughts on Thursday? How much would you change it, and etc.
I've got a feeling that it'll go slightly stronger, and I think he would have gone stronger in Sporting had there not been a bit of an illness throughout the camp. So I think that sort of twisted his arm a little. I think what's clear with Arteta is the Europa League, he will still go strong. He'll still target it. He wants to win. Winning breeds confidence, but he won't take risks. And I think if anyone is slightly on the edge, he won't start them, or any illness and that sort of thing. So I think with Jesus, I'd probably give him half an hour. I'd like to see his minutes increase, but I certainly wouldn't be starting him yet. Would like to see Saka get a rest, as Alex said. Other than that, I play a very, very strong team. I think I'd probably switch the likes of Partey with Jorginho, Saka if we could. Other than that, I don't think I'd really change much. I think it'd be nice to see Tierney play because I think he deserves a game.
Score?
Well, my recent predictions have been awful, so whatever I say, don't put a bet on it. But I'd say 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay, I'm going 2-0 as well as Alex. He's been right the last couple of times, so I've been right at least once. So
I feel like on Alex's predictions.
No, I'm not.
Fergus.
I was going 2-0 anyway. Go on, Dan. You're going to say something?
Oh, you two best buds over there, copying each other's score. But I feel like Sporting played at the top of their game, and I feel like we sort of reached second gear, and I feel like they didn't have much further to go, but we have, and I think that's what will see us through, even if there's no real changes in the team.
Okay, we got some predictions in the chat. Trev will pop those up as I'm going to play a little video. It's a combination of it's North London forever, and a combination of in Portugal and leading up to the Fulham game, because we're going to do the Fulham game now. Here, have a look at this. Nice little video showing a bit of the Sporting trip and a bit of the lead up and throughout the Fulham game. A point to make on the Sporting game: the Sporting will be without a few players, I believe. I don't know exactly who they are. Alex mentioned in our internal chat before we went, missing key players missing for the game.
Yeah, especially like their captain Coates, who's been their captain he was the captain when we played them in 2018, so he's a very important player. And then one of the key midfielders as well, the Japanese guy. They're both going to miss the game because they got a yellow card. So I think that's worth mentioning as well, though. they'll probably miss them a lot. We saw Fulham, how much they missed their midfielder, João Paulinho. So that could make a difference as well.
Yeah, should do. So we're on to Fulham at the Craven Cottage on Sunday. Lots of the guys, include Ben in the chat, they all took the there was a couple of boats going down the Thames. And as we've done a little video clip as we were walking through the park before, and we could hear them. And you can see on one of the boats there, that was I don't know. There was one run by Red Action. There was one run by another lot, and they were very boisterous and very noisy. I didn't go on one because I expected it was going to be very bloody cold as well. But we had a nice walk through the park. It's a really nice walk up to Craven Cottage. And then, this is where the home team are welcomed. And a strange thing, Trev, is this neutral zone. Now, I've never been to a place like this, bar when I go to rugby, because that's what it felt very much like going to a rugby stadium, going to Craven Cottage. Talk to us about this neutral end.
Well, there is. I mean, although the Arsenal fans are there in the section, there's basically no segregation because you can walk around anywhere if you wanted to. And Fulham fans are all right. Their hospitality is well known to be all right, you know. So it actually makes for a great relaxed atmosphere, doesn't it? You know, it was nice. And them Arsenal fans, I don't think they get better, but they keep it up every game now. I watched the full. Have you watched the full game back, boys? I watched the full game back on the telly, and all you heard was Arsenal fans from start to finish. Start to finish was all you could hear was the Arsenal fans. Fantastic day out, a great little stadium with good company and a great result. What more can you ask for as an Arsenal fan? I'm done. That's it.
Dan, you're welcome to Craven Cottage for a 2:00 kickoff. What did you make of Craven Cottage?
I like the small grounds like that, the old-fashioned grounds, and I think we all did the same thing and take a picture of the cottage in the corner. And yeah, there you go, just on cue, like we rehearsed it. But yeah, good. I like those sort of grounds, and it would be a shame because more and more of those are going to be sort of knocked down and rebuilt or adapted and changed. So bit of a shame, but nice to see it while it's close to what its original form was quite a few years ago. But
well, this stand here, if you can see all that brown is wood. This is purely a wooden seat. The media are just in that in between those two posts where Fulham FC is, and it's like a wooden sort of teacher's desk sort of area. We thought Goodison Park felt old. I imagine that stand felt a lot older, Dan.
That one, yeah, and then obviously complete contrast to the new stand directly opposite there as well. So the new stand. Yeah. But yeah, nice stroll in the park, as you said. Someone needs to buy Fergus a belt because the lad wears his trousers low. He really does. He's like watching one of the teenagers nowadays stroll through the park with a little bit of a limp and baggy trousers.
And I've got a little man bag that goes across here like that, you know, and I wear my hood up in it. Yeah. Sorry. Trevor's face. Trevor, it was good. It was good meeting some good company. We met with Jamie and his son Kieran as well. But the pictures came released of what the Arsenal squad have done inside the dressing room. So the picture with like unity signs, very Ted Lasso sort of thing. And we saw some of this on the documentary. They personalised the away dressing room. There's Arsenal logos. They brought the clock in there, and there's even on Twitter that they're holding replica iconic clock from the clock end. And it's all part of making it feel more like less of a strange environment. What's your thoughts on that, Trev?
We're top of the league. Do it every week. Do whatever you want. You know. We've all seen the series now from last year of how Mikel Arteta motivates the players. Last year it faded away. This year it won't fade away, I'm sure, because he does something different every week, I reckon. And if he gets results, good on him. Good on the players. Did you see Ramsdale's six-pack in that picture, by the way? He's well cut, that boy, you know.
That was Zinchenko, I think so.
Was it Zinchenko? Oh, all right, then. It was Zinchenko, not right. It's my glasses. They're not working properly. But no, Ferg, in all seriousness, mate, our manager, the main man, Arteta, he's obviously motivating that team to win games and win more games, and he can do whatever he wants, mate. Keep doing it.
Alex, let's have a look at this lineup then. So we started with Ramsdale and goal. Well, what you'd expect: Ramsdale and goal, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka, and a return to the squad after his injury a couple of weeks back was Trossard. I think we all thought that he was close and maybe he would make an appearance for the Palace game, but not then. But on the bench, more importantly, we had Gabriel Jesus back on the bench. What was your thoughts of the lineup?
I was very surprised Trossard was starting because he wasn't even in the squad for the Sporting Lisbon game, and the reports I heard was that he wasn't likely to feature until after the international break. So I was quite surprised he was even in the starting lineup. But yeah, he didn't look injured at all as we saw in the game. And then just very strong bench. Over the moon to see Jesus back in the squad. And it was just so good to see him back on the pitch again. I'm sure we'll speak about that later.
What's that? Arnie said that was
Trev with the six-pack.
Yeah. Trev, you didn't realise that your video was still on when you flashed your boobs to everybody. You remember?
Arnie, thanks, son. I'm glad I didn't meet you last week, Arnie, when you was at the game, mate. There'll be another opportunity, I'm sure. I'd love to meet up with you, mate, and keep the compliments coming. This old guy loves it.
Dan, the bench finally looked like a strong bench again. But how many more players? Quite it's easy for me to say. How many more players do you think we need to add a bit more depth and strength to compete at a higher level, winning the league and the Champions League, etc.?
I mean, if we want to compete on all fronts, I would still say 6. And
what? 6? Do you mean like 5 and 1, 6?
I do 6.
I agree.
I
agree,
honestly really do believe that we need 6. Now, this can't be all in one go, and it isn't going to be all in one go, and it's likely to be over 3 seasons, and it will be 1 or 2 in every year that really improves the quality of this squad. But numbers wise, I don't think there's an issue. But I think if you want to really be able to rotate that team midweek and at the weekend games and not really lower the quality of the squad like Man City do, I think we still need a bit more. I think we need ultimately still another striker. I think we still need another winger that can rotate with Saka and give the boy a rest. I think ultimately, I've always said long term there'll be an upgrade on Xhaka. I think Partey will still need another person that can come in for him because Jorginho won't be there for that many seasons. I think we need another centre-back that will replace Holding, and then you're looking at a goalkeeper, I still think long term. So I think that's where the 6 are for me.
I think some of those will come out of the youth, and I tend to agree with you because if you look at the current squad that we got 15, maybe 18 top draw players. But if you need a squad of 20, 25, adding your 6 to the 18 gives you up to 24 plus a keeper. There's your 25. So I don't think you're far wrong, and I think you're also right in the sense that it won't be immediate. You're not going to get 6 players in the summer. You may get somebody come through the academy and through Hale End, and then you'll get a couple of players naturally go off and come on. So you might get 2 or 3 in the summer and 1 in January.
Yeah. And I think neither do you need them all in one go because, as we said, that also includes the likes of Jorginho getting a bit older in a few years' time and probably needing a change, and the same with the likes of Xhaka, and I think Rob Holding will ultimately move on. And there's a few players like that. Eddie, I still think, don't want to get into debating Eddie, but I think in a few year or two, he could end up moving on. So I think those spots get vacated by people that vacate the squad as well.
Alex, you've got the likes of Balogun. Go on, Trev.
Have we finished talking about the game now then?
No. We got into the game. We're talking about the squad and the depth on it.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, you didn't read what you just got in from work, so you didn't read how I'd done this. So that's fine. Alex, Saka, 36 start in all competitions since, if you include the World Cup, huge amount of football. That's a good shout, actually. Will Patino replace Xhaka? We'll talk about that afterwards. But Saka, fear of him getting overplayed. Yet again, he performs game in, game out. He performed fantastic again in this game, quieter than the last 2 previously.
Yeah, I think like Dan said, we need to be able to rotate our players without lowering the quality. And as it stands right now, we can't really rotate Saka without lowering the quality. So that's definitely a spot we need to fill for the summer. I can't really see Pepe coming back into the squad. I don't know how about you guys, but
No thanks.
no. So I think it's probably too early to bring someone up from the youth squad to like rotate with Saka. So I think we'll definitely need to get a quality right winger in for next season. But yeah, I think it's worrying me a bit. Like he has to play so many games, Saka, and he gets so many knocks every single game. So I just really hope he gets through this season, and then hopefully we'll get someone who can rotate with him next season.
Trev, the first goal, you were with me, and you kept on saying you were nervous leading up to the start of this game and right through the beginning of the game and so on. The first goal that we saw was ruled off for offside in the build-up play. I'm going to play it now and just talk to us how you felt and how you saw it from inside the stadium and since when you look back on TV.
Soon after, and it was proven to be the case. That first half was special football. I never thought we looked like losing at all. I'm actually like a bit lost for words because I can't believe that I didn't discuss it, but strengthening the squad this was discussed when we're top of the league and then we have a chance to win the Europa League. I don't want to think about strengthening the squad when the season's over. When this season's over and what has happened will happen and what will be, and then we move into the off season, then I might think about strengthening the club. I can't think about that. All I can think about is being in the Emirates Stadium when we play Wolverhampton Wanderers, lifting the Premier League trophy. I can't think outside that box.
We're all with you. We're all with you on that one, Trev. All I was saying is there was like when we talked about the game beforehand and when we chatted on WhatsApp, one of the comments that Dan made was that we had a really strong bench for the first time in a long time, with having Jesus and the likes, and having Trossard on the pitch, and having Jorginho and so on, and players of that quality on there. And I just expanded on that from the comment that Dan had made, saying, we said only a few podcasts back that we don't have that depth maybe of City, and we want to go on and win the league. We want to compete in the Europa League and next year in the Champions League. How do we improve on that? Now, I don't want to go back over what we've already said, but that's why we came along and said, not taken away from the fact that we're all like you. We want to win the Premier League. We want to go as far as we can in the Europa League. And yes, the football we're playing at the moment is fantastic. I actually said to somebody today, I think we're playing better football than Manchester City, the people that all say are the best team in the land. I think Arsenal Football Club at this moment in time, this season, at this point in the season, are now playing better football than any other team in this country.
Right, so let's focus on that then.
But something else, Trev. There's 2 points here, and I'd probably say I couldn't disagree more with what you said. The reason I'll say that, you look at what we did in 2004 when we went unbeaten, and we didn't really strengthen the squad for various reasons. Liverpool didn't strengthen their squad. Teams then tail off. If we want to just turn from competing from the league for one season into competing for 3, 4, and 5 seasons, and not just competing in the league, but also the Champions League, and not just the league and the Champions League, but also the cups like City do, that's why I think we need the numbers. If you keep our starting 18 fit every game, every season, and don't need to rotate them, I think we're good enough. But that realistically doesn't happen because of injuries, because of fatigue, because of the number of games that we're going to play. There's only going to get more with the new FIFA World Cup competition they're coming in, the expanded Champions League. That's only going to get worse. So I think that's the main reason why we need it.
And that's a conversation to have at the end of the season.
Okay. Trev, haven't we always said, and we'll go back onto the game now, but we've always said that the concept of this is 4 guys or 4 Arsenal fans down the pub having a chat, talking football, and conversations go like that in the pub, and that's all this has done. To bring it back on track then, Dan, goal number 1. Yeah, we want another go at Trev, do you? Gabriel, a fantastic goal. We talked about it previously. Another goal from a set piece, and a deserved goal from a really good performance. Dan, go through this one.
We finally got someone that can put a ball in the box from a corner in Trossard. Another thing that lad can do. He's been an exceptional signing, and maybe that's another part of his chink of his armour.
I agree with Dan. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Dan. Move on.
It's because I make sense.
I'm tired.
But Trev, pick up on that point then about Trossard being able to put a ball into the box. A few games ago, and only in recent games, I've seen Trossard doing an awful lot of short corners with Odegaard, and we're saying he couldn't get past the first man. It's great to see in that Fulham game that he did, and he goes on to have even a better game, which we'll talk about. But Trossard.
Right. Listen, we're only seeing the start of Trossard as well, and the corner he did put in some excellent corners, better than I've seen all season. Gabriel scoring that goal, right? There's two things I took from the game, apart from obviously the easy win and the exhilaration of winning. Gabriel, we're starting to. I see someone mention it somewhere. I don't know if it was social media or wherever. Gabriel is becoming such an important part of the system we play in this team, right? Because not only does he play centre back, he plays right back when Zinchenko goes walkabout and does his stuff in the middle of the field. He has to read that whole he has to read that whole left-hand side of the field, right? When Zinchenko is doing what we want him to do. And then he can also get forward and score a goal with a head. He really is becoming an important part of the team. He's a pleasure to watch him play. And his passion. Him and Saliba, their passion. Two centre-halves at the back with that kind of passion is what we've missed. We can go back to the Bold and Adams days, and Owen. We haven't had a centre-half partnership with passion and the will to win like that in a very long time.
Alex, goal number 2 was Martinelli, who scored that goal. I'll bring that up in a second. It was led 23 passes led to this game, and Trossard had moved out to the right channel. Gabby was central. Martinelli was central, and a headed goal. Talk to me about what you thought about Trossard and some of the stuff on there. Here's the goal.
To our box, and then we saw Saliba play a perfect pass with his left foot out of pressure, and then it ended up being Xhaka with the ball carrying it up, and it was I think it was a 5 against 4, and he plays it out to Trossard, who crosses it in for Martinelli, who dinks it into the goal, and it was just like a classic, almost like a classic Arsenal goal this season. We've seen it so many times where, as I said, like we lure the opponents in and then play out of the pressure. It was just like a perfect team goal, and 23 passes in the build-up. I was so chuffed seeing that goal go in.
Dan, every player in the squad, on the team, on the pitch, not the whole squad, not that didn't come off the bench, but every player on the pitch touched that ball in that build-up. Trossard in particular, talk to me about the way he can interchange into different positions and play like left, right, fake number 9, 10.
Yeah, well, firstly, it's great to see team goals like that, because that's always been my worry. This team can counter very, very good, but breaking down teams and being patient, that's the sign of what top sides do. And I think they are starting to do that. But one thing with the goal that I noticed is was it a left-footed cross from Trossard? And I think the corner was his right foot. And
he's very two-footed,
Yeah, he can fake and go both sides. And this is the difference between him and, I'm not going to compare him to Pepe, but the likes of Pepe. The lad Pepe had ability, but he struggled to go onto his right foot. This lad can go both sides, and people have to face him up completely differently than they would someone that they know can only go onto his left foot. So it just creates spaces for the team. And then just the way he plays. Yeah, that's a spot on comment, by the way. A very good comment. But the way he plays in this team, there's another tactical tweak with Xhaka in the way he plays with Trossard. In that when Jesus came in, we saw Xhaka push up, and it was near enough Xhaka Odegaard behind the striker. When Trossard plays, Trossard drops in, and Xhaka and Odegaard both go a little bit wider. And then the wide men can actually make those diagonal runs in behind the back four more centrally. And it's just a completely different tactical tweak from what we were before, where Martinelli's out on the touchline. And it's just, he brings so much to our team in terms of ability, 1-2 touches, faking left, faking right. And he attracts people to him, and he just leaves spaces for the team.
An outstanding player, and Trev, a couple of players that we were talking about while watching the game was Ben White. Ben White, even from the early onset of the game, was having an outstanding game. And I think your words were to me, Ferg, he's an outstanding player. He's such a quality player we've got in Ben White. And another player who was like the orchestra, what's the guy? The conductor at an orchestra was Martin Odegaard. He had a game. If Trossard didn't do as well as he did, for me, he's got to be up there, probably as close for man of the match. Trev.
Yeah, he has. Ben White is, for me, turning into one of these players that he's been played in a position that wasn't his natural position, and he's adapted to it. We're starting to see him make the odd overlap down the line now, but he's one of these players that just does the odd graft and you don't really notice him. But if you watch him, he works really hard for the team and he's a key part of our defence. As for Odegaard, mate, he just keeps on improving, doesn't he? And in these games, like where he gets that little bit more space, he's just phenomenal. He's just a phenomenal footballing talent. If he gets a yard, you just don't know what he's going to do with it. He can do anything. He can turn and run. He can make a bit of space. He can chip a ball over the top. It's a pleasure. The lad spoke about it just now, right? This, and I think Dan used the words. This Trossard Martinelli interchange of partnership is starting to look something very special. And as they're getting to know and read each other, and they won't need to look at each other, they'll know which way each other's going to go the more they play together. And it started to show against Fulham, you know. It really started to show against Fulham, and that's proven by the fact that Trossard was out wide for the three assists, and Martinelli was in the middle to score a goal. And then next time you look, they'd swap the other way around. It's exciting. There's exciting things happening all over the park for the Arsenal. Whatever position you look at on the field, you think, yeah, oh wow, yeah. And as for we've not mentioned him yet, right? And it's a shame I've been working for, because I wanted to ask you if you could dig it out, mate. You know I'm useless at these things. That portion of play in the second half, that bit of play where Thomas Partey turned and left about 3 players running the wrong way. Oh my!
I tried to look for it.
Yeah,
I tried to look for it, Trev.
I'll tell you what, you people watching, if you ain't watched the game yet, it's worth watching just for that bit of skill. It's making me smile now. He just turned these 3 Fulham players inside out in a click of a finger. Wonderful.
Well, there was an ooh and an ah in the stand as he done that pirouette. It was around the centre circle sort of way, and everyone's got It was almost as good as a goal watching it live, and when you watch it back on TV, it's even closer up. It's going to look fantastic. Yeah,
it was brilliant. I watched it. I found it on the telly, and I was rewinding it because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know, it was wonderful.
Oh, hang on, I think I might have it.
Good, they're all good.
And where have you sent it to? Where have you sent it to? On Messenger. Oh, no, that's not going to help me. Send it on WhatsApp, mate.
I'll send it on WhatsApp.
Let me see if I can get it. Sorry, go on. Carry on talking a second, Trev, and we'll try and get this up for you.
No, I'm just going to keep on talking about our players. And we bought, someone else we've got to give a mention, Reece Nelson. When he came on, he looked really busy, didn't he? He looked really busy. Yeah. And the threats are coming off the bench. As Dan and Alex said earlier, the bench looked really strong. When we're not carrying any injuries, the bench looks really strong. And during the summer, we might look to strengthen a little bit. You never know. But this
wait for it.
What do you think about that, Trev?
I've just got to enjoy this moment, boys. We've waited too long for it. Don't let anything distract you from enjoying the moment every game. every game as it comes, enjoy it, you know.
But
Are you there,
something
yeah? Have I got a waffle on? Here, you talk now,
no,
Dad.
I was
No,
going to say,
I haven't got a. What you've sent me is a Martinelli run, Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, so we'll try and find it. If we can find it before the end of the show, we'll bring it back up.
Yeah.
Come on, Dan.
Yeah, no, something I was going to say is you said, how good are they, Trev? Again, I think praise needs to go to Arteta because the way he sets the team up sets them up to play as they are. And the way he has changed football in the way that we used to watch it. The fullback positions where we used to see the fullbacks overlapping and you'd have the winger and the fullback, and then the opposing team defending would be winger fullback, and it would always be 2-on-2. And he sets them up to make sure that Zinchenko comes inside and builds like a box with a 4 so we can dominate play. He has the 3 centre-backs or drop into centre-backs that are comfortable on the ball but are predominantly centre-backs. And he leaves the wingers isolated and he makes sure that there isn't an overlapping player anywhere near the winger. And I think one of the stats I saw the other day was our 2 wide men have the highest one-on-one situations.
Yeah, they have.
Of the season out of all of the other players. And what he tries to do is he tries to get our winger and their fullback to be isolated one-on-one as much as possible because he's got full confidence that those guys will beat them and create space or create a scenario where we'll score. And it just shows how good they are and how good Arteta's setting the team up.
Here's this clip then for you.
Watch this.
Oh
my Lord. Look at him.
Oh,
my Lord.
See you later.
Very good.
You can't take the ball off him. He's just so confident.
Cheerio.
It looks so easy as well.
Oh. 3 of them gone. 3 of them gone just like that. But
you can't put pressure
Tommy
on
Ashley
him.
does well in there as well, but this is just unreal. He's got 2 players on his back at him, and he just spins back and clears the ball into the midfield. That's what we bought Thomas Partey for. And you know what? It's probably been I've seen probably 5 or 6 games of him being that brilliant, but I think that's probably one of the best I've seen him play at Fulham, and I think everybody played. And credit goes out to. We played the last goal. I think we did play the last goal, didn't we? We did play the Odegaard goal, and that led to Trossard's the first Premier League player in history to have a hat-trick of assists in the first half in any away game. There's the signing of the January transfer window, people are saying on Talk Rubbish and 5 Live and all the pundits. And more the pundits, Alex, are talking more about Arteta being the master and Arteta, silencing all the critics amongst the fan base, plus in the wider football fraternity as well. Talk to us about Trossard and Arteta and the signing.
Yeah, I think a couple of us were like, I wouldn't say disappointed, but a lot of us was hoping to get Mudryk in the January transfer window, and he did look very exciting. So I think it was more we were disappointed not getting him than getting Trossard. But he wasn't like a flashy signing or anything. But he's just like the plug and play signing, and he's just so clever. And it's been like that with all of our signings. It was like that with Odegaard. Some of us wanted Maddison back then. But we went and got Odegaard for half the price maybe. And I think it's just like every time we make a signing, people question it. And it just turns out to be brilliant every single time. I can't remember the last time we've made a bad signing under Arteta. They've just got it spot on with their transfer strategy every time. And I like the way they deal with it as well, where they make their price and they don't go over it. And we saw that with Mudryk as well. They won't go over their evaluation of a player. So I think you see Chelsea just going crazy with their transfers. So I really like the way they go about it, Edu and Arteta.
I think it's the overall finances around it as well, because if you look at the Casado deal, a lot of that was linked into whether Villa, if they were going to buy Guendouzi, and there was a kickback on Guendouzi, I believe, in the contract. So we would have got some money to go towards Caicedo, and it wouldn't have, obviously, stage payments, so everything else, it would have been
like in this market,
workable.
30 million is a bargain. Like,
oh Jesus, yeah, and
Yeah.
10, 12 million for Jorginho. You know,
Yeah.
what we paid for those two players together is unreal. Dan, Fulham offered nothing in that first half, but in the second half they did come out with a bit more of a threat. They made Ramsdale make a few saves. There was even one which, to be honest, I missed at the time, I think, because Trev was mentioned to me on the way back as we were walking through the park. They got one that hit off the bar. Fulham did offer a little bit more in that second half.
Yeah, but I think credit to us. People have said the same when we beat Brentford earlier in the season 3-0. You know, Brentford wasn't that good, or not many teams go there and put that same performance in as we did against Fulham. But we won't get the credit for that, because when we win, it's not down to us being good; it's down to the other team being poor. So we'll let them continue with their agenda, as you say. And some of the pundits are starting to turn, but there's still a few that aren't. So never mind. But yeah, second half, I think Fulham were a bit better. As teams that are 3-0 down have to come out, we dealt with it quite well. Thought we were controlled. Thought we were quite a mature side for a young side. And then when needed, Ramsdale again has been in very, very good form the last few games and pulls out saves when he needs to. And then when we absolutely have to, we get a bit of luck, and that's what champions need as well.
Absolutely,
sheets now.
absolutely. What's that?
Most clean sheets in the Premier League.
Oh, I didn't know that. Christ, we've got more and more stats coming out this game. It's like a stat zone. It's unreal.
How many away?
How many away?
Yeah, okay, I don't know the number, but our away,
but probably more than home.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Right
our away record this season is better than our home record, and our home record is quite good. Trevor, I think we have to take our hats off to the manager, your manager that you said, but the manager, Mikel Arteta, our manager, yeah. But you in particular claimed him as yours as well. So yeah, I know you do. He managed the game well with substitutions, and it was great to see Gabriel Jesus back. Jesus had been out for 13 games after picking up his injury in the World Cup. And the interesting fact that came out of there is it's 13 games since he was out, and when he got injured just before the World Cup break, we were fifth in the league. We're first in the league with 5 points clear. When he comes back onto the pitch at 70 minutes against Fulham, we're 5 points clear and top of the league. Yeah, it's got to be credit to one, how the team, because of this superstar player that we had, but how the rest of the team have pulled up and covered for him as well. And it was great to see him back.
Yeah, it was wonderful. He got a wonderful reception, didn't he? He got an amazing reception. And as you say, it's all credit to Arteta, the fact that we haven't missed him, have we? As in a results on the field and league position sense, we've missed him as having that option. His energy, when he came on, when he came on against Fulham, his energy levels were immediately right back up there. He was buzzing all over the field, and he's just a lovely lad to watch, isn't he? I enjoy it very much. And it's interesting to think, I've got it in my head now. If Jesus is fit on Sunday, right? How can he drop Martinelli or Trossard? It's a great problem to have. It's a wonderful problem to have. But if Jesus is training now this week after his comeback game against Fulham, and he has another 20 minutes against Lisbon on Thursday night, and he's buzzing on Sunday and he wants to play, what do you say to Trossard or Martinelli? What do you say to him? I don't know.
Start with Rusty Saka.
You what?
Yeah, that's what Saka. He plays right wing as well, Jesus, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He did at Man City, yeah.
I still maintain long term he'll be a player that will play up front and right wing and will rotate the squad. And there will be 4 or 5 that rotate in those 3 positions, just like City did.
See, I rate Saka so highly, Dan, right? That I want to see him play every game. If he can walk on the field, I want to see him play, because even when he has a below average game, it's still a good game for me, looking, And so I want to see Bukayo Saka on the field. And I understand about the burnout. I understand about the injuries. but it's a critical part of the season. I want to see that lad on the field. I want to see him playing every week if we can get him fit enough to play. I really like the point you made, Dan, about the wingers and isolating the wingers one-on-one against the defenders. I mentioned, I looked at it last season, what was happening, and I think that's the one thing that Arteta has brought from City. The most standout thing that Arteta has brought to Arsenal is the way that City use their wingers, their Mahreds and their Grealishes. You know, they try and get them isolated and they try and move into the space beyond the defenders. And I think that Arteta's got us playing similar to that at times, and it's wonderful to see. Having said that, it's now changed because we can cut inside and outside with the Trossard, Martinelli, Saka. I don't know. It's endless. The options.
You know what, Trev? Jesus only scored four times for Arsenal in the league. He's drawn blank 11 times.
Isn't it 5?
Sorry, he scored only in 4 games. Yeah, it's 5 goals in 4
yeah.
games. But he's drawn blank in the past 11. But Arteta, and I think this is part of the reason why Zinchenko and Jesus were brought into the squad, because winning breeds winning. It's like success. What's your thoughts on that, Trev? And maybe is that what he's been doing behind the scenes while he's been training, sort of positive attitude, unlike his forebears of Ozil and Aubameyang, who just down-tooled when they weren't getting what they wanted.
Thank God we don't have to talk about that lot that came previously anymore. Thank God there's other things in our heads now to distract us. But you've just thrown another thought into the conundrum, Fergus. It's the right thing to say in that Jesus has scored less goals than most of our other forwards this season. So, but he has such an effect on our team when he plays. Do you not play the goal scorer, or do you not play the bloke that might make our team score the goals? You know, like a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? I don't know, but as I said just now, and I can't reaffirm it enough. Right, it's a great position to be in for our football club. It's a position we ain't been in for years. We haven't had this choice for years, you know. And it's interesting to see. Here we go now. Alan has just put a comment on there. His work rate, though, Alan's exactly right. His work rate is astonishing. So, you know, do we need him there and just play one or two of the lads that have scored more goals around him? It's a conundrum I can't work out, but it's a great problem to have. And I'm sure that Arteta knows what way he's heading.
Well, it's the thing that we talked about with Eddie. As good as Eddie is in the books, he doesn't offer what Saka offers. Not Saka. Jesus offers around the rest of the pitch. Let's talk about this chance that happened almost right in front of you, Dan. Jesus nearly came back and nearly scored. And Dan, it was right in front of you. Your flag was probably wafted up in the air and everything. Go on, talk me through it.
Yeah, I think we got to put it down to him being rusty. But before we get to Jesus, I think Vieira had a good cameo when he came on as well, and I think he's a player that's improving. So nice to have more players like that. But yeah, a confident Jesus, when he starts to bang in the goals, will bang them in more regularly. I think I'm quite confident in that. But how good would that have been in the stands to hear his song even louder than it already was?
Well, there was a new song as well, wasn't there?
We heard that in August. That was
yes, we did,
beginning of the season. So it's not really a new song, but obviously never took off because we had another brilliant song that Ben put together. So now we've got 2 fantastic songs for him. So we've got no excuses not to sing for him.
Alex, you just sent me this little clip through of Jesus' skills. I didn't read the tweet that came with it. I'm just going to play it and you can talk about it. So just let's add this to the stream. I don't know if you can hear it, but you'll be able to see enough.
No, it was just to see like the little bit of skill before the goal, because it was just an amazing spin he did to pass it off to Vieira.
Can you hear it or not?
No, there's no.
All right, keep talking.
No sound. But yeah, that's just what he offers as well. His little trickery, and he's got so many skills up his sleeve, and the X factor as well. You never know what he's going to do, and yeah, it's a lovely conundrum, and he's just got so much to offer, Jesus, with his work rate, and he just inflicts fear into the opponents and their backline especially, which helps other players in our team perform. There it was, yeah. That was just amazing. Yeah, unfortunately, didn't finish it, but good cameo by him as well, Jesus. And he looks sharp and he looks ready. And I can't wait to see the documentary they made about him, which will be coming soon. That'll be good to see.
Yeah, that's the Adidas one that's coming
Yeah,
soon.
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know when, but I'm sure we'll hear about it soon. Listen, we won the game 3-0. It was Arteta's 100th win. And also another record. Arsenal, the first team English side in English football to win 5 consecutive London derbies away from home without conceding a goal, and a combined goal aggregate of 11-0. It's an amazing stats. The stats carry on. That we have Ramsdale with a clean sheet. Surely he's heading the most number of clean sheets in the league. Surely heading for Golden Glove. And then we've got the London Football Awards. We've got Manager of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, and Player of the Year. Trev, how proud of are we as Arsenal fans seeing those 4 awards going to those great football players?
Just wait. Right. Listen, right. We've gone from being a laughing stock, right? Pundits laughed at us. Newspapers, television pundits, newspaper reporters used to look for the Arsenal because they could always find a story that would make people laugh, right? Up until quite recently. And now all of those newspapers, all of those soccer pundits, they're just full of praise and they're full of praise and they're predicting that we're going to do great things. And they don't do that, they don't do that willy-nilly, these people. They have to be persuaded and their minds have to be changed. And a lot of these newspaper reporters in particular are extremely intelligent people that know a lot about our football game. And to change the minds of them people and to get them looking at our great club and saying, yeah, they're back. They're on the way. This is exciting. The future's bright. That takes a lot. And once again, we praise Arteta for that. And Edu and his backroom staff, right? It's wonderful. It's just to see it, right? Pick up the newspaper or turn the telly on and it's Arsenal this, Arsenal that, Arsenal this, and it's all positives. No one's laughing at the Arsenal anymore. And I've waffled on that long. I've forgotten what the other half of the question was, Ferg.
It was just how proud are we? Like the 4 players, like great player for us, manager and players, and I think you type of covered it. It's just really good to see the good news about Arsenal Football Club rather than the crap that we're hearing a season and a half ago when we lost 5-0 at Man City and hadn't scored a goal after 3 games at bottom of the league.
Ferg, just out of curiosity, what's the average age of those 3 players in that picture? It's not a lot, is it?
23, 20. I would say about probably 23.
22, 23. And we've
Ramsdale's about 23.
Saka's 21, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, how old is Odegaard? 23, 24?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I would say, yeah, we've got the makings. I was talking to Mem, who's been on the show before. I was talking to Mem in the week, and we're talking about the squad and the team and the performance and everything else. And he was convinced from the day of Arteta's appointment that he was the man to bring us greatness. And I would say to him, look, I wasn't as convinced as he was. I think everyone was a little bit nervous about the inexperience, but not like hashtag Arteta out and all that sort of stuff, but just sensibly questioning, was it too much too soon for the guy, and he had no track record. But Mem has maintained it, but even Mem is shocked by how quick it's come. He's about 18 months ahead of even Mem's anticipation. And with the way we are now, and the young side that we've got, this is the basis of a team that can go on for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Okay, with the changes, and with reviving the squad, but also a huge point that people go on about this season is Man City. They're saying to us that we got a bit lucky, and I've even said it. We've had a bit of fortune in that other teams haven't been performing as well. Liverpool aren't as good as they were. Spurs are going back into their normal lane. Chelsea are in turmoil. Newcastle are a worrisome, troublesome new kid on the block. But if you look at this stat here, which was Sky Sports were talking about a couple of days ago, only at this same point, the points that Man City are on versus the points after 27 games of the points that we're on, in this season they're on 21 points. At 21-22, they're on 66 points, and 62, 57, 65 respectively. They said on that stat there that 21-22 with 66 points and the Liverpool 19-20 First Division champions were the only two to be only 2 years where anybody was better than where we are at this point. So when people come along and say, "Oh, it's because Man City they're not really getting into the swing of things, that Arsenal have got that little bit more lucky," it's bullshit.
It's the other teams, isn't it, Ferg?
I do think that does help.
It's the Liverpool and the Chelsea. Chelsea are 29 points behind us. They're having a ridiculously bad season. But as you say, like the stats prove, they're not having a bad season. City, we're just having a really, really good season, and we're just better than them at the moment.
I know we've overrun, and we are going to go. Listen, the only thing I did want to say briefly, and if you have to go, just let me know. But these are our remaining fixtures. Dan, where are the ones that worry you in there?
It's April, isn't it? I think Liverpool away is going to be an absolutely huge game for us, because I expect us to go and beat Palace. I expect us to go and beat Leeds. But Liverpool away, if we win that game, and we can, I think, quite easily also beat West Ham and Southampton, we can go into that City game with huge amount of confidence because of the gap that we've got to City at that point. Again, I think Chelsea, we'll be able to beat them at home. But those two games, Liverpool away, City away, are such a key couple of games because of the other games around them and the confidence that they would give to the other games as well. So City don't have that many difficult games. They've got Liverpool like we have. They've got to play us as well. We've both got to play Brighton. I guess that you could argue they're similar run-ins, although I think our tougher games are away from home. I think that probably makes a difference.
Trev, anybody you fear in there? I know you're going to really say very few, but and who do you think are the key games for City?
Do you know what, Ferg? I'm going to put a different twist on it, right, mate?
Go on.
I'm going to put a different twist on it because I've been doing it all season, so I'm going to stick with it. I don't want to look past Palace, right? I don't want to look past Palace. But what I will say is that I'm pretty sure that Man City will at least draw one more game, right? And if Man City draw one more game, we can afford to lose two, right? Gives us a bit more breathing space. So from where I'm looking in, I'm very happy with what I see there. I look at the fixtures, and we've got some challenges. City have got a slightly less challenge, I would say, but City will draw or lose at least one more game. And I think that gives us enough to go on and win the title. Please, God, let us do that.
Alex, we play Palace on Sunday. If we beat Palace, when we beat Palace, we go 8 points clear. City don't play because West Ham, their West Ham fixture is postponed, so they will have a tough fixture rammed in somewhere else when it's really chock-a-block with fixtures with Champions League and everything else that's going on. We've also got Europa League, hopefully, in between the West Ham, Southampton, and before the Man City game is the quarterfinals. So, you know, there are some banana skins for both sides.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we can go 8 points clear, as you said, when we win against Palace, and then they play Liverpool and we play Leeds. I mean, we could potentially be 11 points clear on April the 1st. So, but yeah, I'm with Trev on this one. Like, I find it difficult to look past Palace. It's just one game at a time for me at the moment. It's one of those seasons.
Guys, we've really overdone it tonight. We've gone on longer than we normally do. I've even getting messages from Trev going, "I'm hungry." No, you've already eaten. I'm still hungry.
You haven't. I'll tell you why I messaged you, Ferg. I'll tell you why I messaged you, because I was enjoying the conversation that much. I didn't see how long we'd been going tonight, and I thought, well,
I know.
what if Fergus missed the clock? You know, I know you normally insist on about an hour, but no,
we never do an hour though. We always end up at an hour and 10, an hour and 15.
Yeah, but this is another thing, right? We were doing this podcast a couple of years ago and struggling to find anything positive to say for more than about 20 minutes. Now we could probably go on for about 3 hours and we'd still be smiling, you know? Massive changes.
I'll tell you what we'd like to do, and the international break is coming up. Maybe get some of the people in the chat. We'll do a link. We do a phone in so that you can call us. All you need to do is when we're in the show, you will go to gunsandyellowribbons.com and /show, or else you just click on join the show on the top of the website. So have a look at that. And maybe you can come on for a couple of minutes and say what you think. If you're on your phone, make sure you got earphones in. It just makes it easier for us, and your phone's on landscape and the lights on your face so we can see what you look like. Because we make sure Dan puts it behind him so that we don't have to see as much of his face, because we have to see it a lot on match day. But yeah, maybe we can do that and rotate some of us around and get different people in. It was good fun. We done nearly 25 episodes ago. We done it the last time, and episode number 250 that will 251 that will be plus all the other stuff. Trev, thanks very much, mate. Are you down Thursday, or is there train strikes, or what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, the trains have put a stop to me Thursday, but I will be there on Sunday.
Okay, no worries. Dan, block 5, block 6, usual.
Of course. And Ferg, we nearly went an hour and 20 minutes without you insulting me. How good was that? That was such a good run. And we also nearly went an hour and 20 minutes without me saying you little Irish leprechaun, but never mind. I do have one final comment to make, and I need to give someone an apology. I bumped into Stuart McFarlane on the train. Oh, here we go. Stuart McFarlane on the train on the way home from Fulham. And you know how bad I am with names. I called him Steve, and I'm very, very sorry. I know you're not Steve McFarlane, it's Stuart McFarlane. And yeah, I will learn that one for future.
Of course you did. Of course you did, Dan.
I don't know why Steve was on my mind, and I called him Steve, and he walked past me and went, who the hell is Steve?
I need to get that clip up. You know that one with the old meerkat going, Steve, Alan. That's you, isn't it?
I had a couple, so, you know, I'm blaming that.
Yeah, you hardly even touch the stuff. I'm on the hard stuff still, you know, so I'll tell you what was good. That 8 Bells had draft Budvar, which is like virtually alcohol free. So it was going to feel like a real person drinking a beer. On that note,
what was good? Beer in Lisbon at €2 for a full pint, a proper pint.
2 pint Trevor.
Yeah,
I think he went past 2 pints, don't you?
We're not allowed to say that on air, Alex. The missus watches.
He never, I swear. I watched him the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, through one eye. But on that note, yeah, I've been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans, by Arsenal fans. If you like what we do, you know what to do. Click on the like, click on the bell for subscribe so that you'll get a notification when we do this. We're mostly on YouTube now because Facebook keep on just pulling down it for copyright, and I seem to get away with it a little bit more on YouTube. Thanks very much, everybody. Up the Arsenal. Fuck the Spurs.
You've been listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons and Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too.